All right, we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the Michael Fanone Show. I am your host, Michael Fanone, and I've got with me two amazing guests I'm very excited about. First, Joy Reid. Everybody knows Joy Reid, but for those of you who may not, Joy is a veteran journalist, political analyst, and the host of the Joy Reid Show on YouTube and Substack, and a dear friend of mine. So thank you, Joy, for joining us. Long time.
And I miss you, man. We gotta get drinks or something. Like, what are we doing?
I know we do. And then Suzanne Lambert, who is a comedian, political commentator known for her viral satire.
Yes.
Mean But True podcast. And full disclosure, the reason we're running late today is because we pretty much were about to have the whole fucking show without hitting the live button, which is something that does happen when Joy and I get together. But we decided to hit live so we can actually bring to you the behind-the-scenes conversation that we were having. And I'm just going to jump right into it, Joy. We were talking about the fact that we are living in an authoritarian fascist state. Yeah. There's no denying it at this point if you're a sane person who lives in and is in touch with reality. Why is it so difficult for your former colleagues, those in the journalism space, to simply admit as much?
It's one word: access. The business of modern journalism is access, because if the fear of losing access to the administration, not being able to call members of the administration and have them call you back or be on your shows or be on your network, that incentive structure causes people to capitulate. It causes people to suck up. And then I think the other piece of it is that the business of journalism, the business of media, is a business. And so these journalistic enterprises exist inside corporations that may not be mainly about journalism. They've got, theme parks, and they've got movie studios, and they've got all these other businesses. And they're not going to let one or two, mean journalists who are pissing off the president stand between them and the business they need to do, that they need the federal government's permission and okay to do. So the incentive structure in the media is just upside down and backwards. And that's why we are here.
So my argument to the access, because I understand that, and I think the vast majority of people understand that journalists need access, but this is a unique space that we have, found ourselves in this particular moment. Don't journalists, first and foremost, aren't they here to provide information to the American people? Isn't acknowledging where we are and how we got here an important part of that story? And if Donald Trump doesn't want to talk to you anymore, I mean, first of all, Donald Trump's an attention whore. We've seen plenty of journalists call him out, and then he still comes back for more, because at the end of the day, he wants the access. I don't even, but you see some capitulate more than others. And Suzanne, please don't hesitate to jump in at any time. I'm not a real host. And so I really don't I do a whole job of, making sure that everybody gets whatever. I mean, you know what I'm saying. So
listen, I have 5 siblings. I'm used to just jumping in. It's no worries here. But I mean, it's just so embarrassing. I completely agree with y'all. Especially when this president has shown time and time again that he has no respect for the media back or for the press back, right? I mean, think all of the lengths he's gone through to censor the press, getting illegal tech mergers approved because the FCC chairman's under his thumb. It's all so embarrassing. And if every single outlet just said, you know what, fine, if you continue to do things like ban reporters from the Pentagon, for example, we're all going to walk away. You're absolutely right. They would never be able to deal with that loss of attention. That's all that they care about. It's crazy to watch.
Suzanne, you bring up a great point. And Joy, I'll ask you this. We see Donald Trump, I mean, it's not rowdy, berate, especially female journalists, but I mean, just insult female journalists. And then I'm waiting for the next journalist afterwards to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? The way you just addressed my colleague is wholly inappropriate. I don't give a fuck who you are. what is wrong with you? And you get these journalists like don't stand up for each other.
They do not. And it drives me nuts as well. It's one of my biggest pet peeves about, and by the way, Barbara Walters would never go back. The same guy, even when he was more sentient, this is like before he was sundowning, when he actually still had all of his, marbles. Barbara Walters used to own him in interviews, because what Donald Trump actually respects is strength. And you watch when the guy from Axios interviews him, different guy. He'll back down if you push, right? And to me, there are two mistakes that journalists are making. Mistake number one is the deference, the over deference. Mr. President, sir, Mr. President, sir, the sort of asymmetry you're creating between yourself, who is a representative of the people, and this guy who is our employee. The president of the United States is not our boss. He's our employee. And so you don't need to speak to him as if he is the king. He is not a monarch, but he's treated as a monarch by the press because they feel this deference will keep the access coming. That's mistake number one. The second mistake is you're forgetting the power of numbers. If he calls one person piggy, the person next to them should say, especially if it's a man. And I'm Gen X, so maybe I'm just a little not like a millennial where they like real believe in I believe in equality, but I also believe a man should be a man. And I would expect a man that heard me as a woman be called a name to stand up as a man and say, Mr. President, you cannot speak to my colleague that way. You need to apologize to her before we go any further. And by the way, I'm going to ask her questions since you didn't want to answer her. Let me ask it. They should each in tandem defend each other. If they defended each other, Trump, if you know anything about him, would back down because he actually isn't a strong man. He's always had stronger men who defended him and who jumped in. He's a bully. And what do we remember about a bully in high school, in junior high school? The minute you punch him in the face, they generally back down. And so because no one's punching back, he's able to run over these people and humiliate them. And he thrives on the humiliation. The humiliation feeds him emotionally. He loves to humiliate people. And when you let him, you just make him worse.
Yep. Yeah, no. And at any job, if you were in a meeting and someone said a comment like quiet piggy to someone else in that meeting, at any job, they would stop the meeting and that person would get fired. Like there's an accountability structure. Why is it that our government is where we decide to draw the line at having accountability structures? I know I'm just preaching at this point because we've all been saying this, but like, what is professionalism when we have a fascist dictator in office? I think we can throw those rules out the window. I don't think they exist anymore.
Yeah, it seems as though the last remaining space where that exists, that deference is with mainstream American journalists. Because listen, the American people have long since, I think, abandoned most of that, and even world leaders are no longer showing Trump or the United States any level of deference. They laugh publicly at their statements. They push back publicly. They turn their backs, walk out. Pretty much every possible display of disrespect, they have no problems, exhibiting that. It's only the American media, and I guess again, Joy, to your point, the thirst for access.
Yeah, and Trump would not survive for 10 seconds in the British media. If you watch the British media, they don't respect the king. They don't respect the queen. They don't respect the princess. They respect no one. They come at them like they're beating them up in class. Like they don't respect their leaders. But it's because of that you actually get a better quality of coverage in Britain or even Israel. As critical as I am of the Israeli government, I'm nowhere near as rough on them as Haaretz. The Israeli media beats the crap out of Bibi Netanyahu in a way that we would never in the U.S. press. We're more deferential to Netanyahu than his own press. It's something about American media that has created this weird asymmetry between the fourth estate and the presidency and all of his cabinet. Mr. Secretary, sir, please, sir, we're begging for coverage. By the way, no one had access to Adolf Hitler. And still the press managed to cover his his regime. No one had access really to the governments of Britain, very little access to FDR. He said, when I have something to say to you, I'll do a radio show. He did his own radio show. It's not like you had constant access to him. I think the worst thing that ever happened to the American media is them being brought inside the White House and given that perch where they physically are seated in the White House, because it created this idea of sort of gratitude. Oh my God, we're inside the boundaries. We're in the gates. We're sitting inside of the vestibules of power. Oh my God, we feel so grateful to be here. And I think it created an asymmetry that's not healthy.
Well, I'll go both of you on that point, Joy. Do you think does it make sense to just stop denying Donald Trump and his administration access to American journalists? And what I mean by that is, like, should we just, like, take tonight, for instance? Trump is going to give this speech. Fucking God doesn't even know what the hell he's going to say during this speech. In fact, quite frankly, I don't even know if Donald Trump does. I think he probably has.
He definitely doesn't.
No, he has like a concept of an idea of what he's going to say. And then he's just going to go on a fucking tangent and, create evidence of things that I know it's going to be insane. I mean, that's pretty much, but I noticed, like, and Suzanne, jump in. I noticed, like, MS Now started doing something where they would cover Trump's speeches, but they would have Trump, like, up, in this tiny little box, like, up in the top of the screen, and then the sound would be muted, and they would be listening, and they would kind of be, like, commentating on what is happening. I think we should just stop denying Donald Trump access in that manner and just talk about the things that he says. And then after the fact, and then the whole thing should just be fact checking and calling out the lies rather than some other networks that have just chosen to allow Trump to be Trump and talk. And they just kind of, I don't know.
That's a really interesting point. I don't disagree. I do kind of like to watch it, though, because I like to make fun of him. I made a really funny video making fun of Mike Johnson last time, and it would be a bummer to not be able to watch them do their stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up, clap, sit down, clap every 30 seconds, like their little jazzercise performance that they always do,
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to get covered. What I'm saying is, like, he has this, I'm going to have this 9 p.m. primetime address. Like, what if they just showed World Cup reruns during the fucking primetime address?
Honestly, I hear you. Yeah.
And then pulled, later on, you can pull it from C-SPAN and you can make fucking, satire it and lambast him to your heart's content in the aftermath. And then I think it would be great if the only thing that I got to watch from Donald Trump's speeches was Suzanne Lambert making fun of the motherfucker.
I think you're totally right. I mean, impressions about his speeches always get way more views than his speeches themselves. I watch way more content about his speeches than I ever do watch. I never watch, the whole thing usually, personally. So yeah, absolutely. Although, yeah, World Cup, although I do want to figure out why everyone is rooting against Argentina. I don't know what all of that's about. There seems to be a lot of anger towards Argentina, but that can be a separate conversation.
Don't get me started. I want them to lose so badly.
Oh, you do?
Like
you do too?
I hate them. I hate
Wait,
them.
why? I did not know we had this much beef with them. I had no clue.
My beef is personal and super racial. They're the most racist country in South America. They call themselves Europe, not really Central. They divorce themselves from Central and South America. They don't consider themselves part of it. Think about the fact that Peter Thiel is moving there.
I did not know that.
That's why he's moving. It's super racist.
What? Oh,
I'm rooting for Spain.
I should have known. Okay, I'll root for Spain too.
You may see me in an Argentina jersey, but my number 10 jersey does not say Messi on the back. It says Maradona. And so Diego Maradona, who's an indigenous Argentinian, who I think, he called it back in 2018. He said when they announced the World Cup was coming to the U.S., said the United States will split it up into 4 halves or 4, quarters, and so that they can show more advertising. They have no love for the game. There's no soul in America. And And I will say I was at a watch party in Philly because I took my kids to the France-Paraguay game. And when I cheered the Argentina goal that for the match that night, like you could have heard a pin drop.
You became the most hated man in the place.
Oh my God.
They're the villain of the whole world.
Dude, I did not know that until last night.
Of the world.
Michael didn't know either, I guess.
Yeah.
Everyone hates them. I mean, I will never root for England because they're the biggest colonizer ever in the history of the world, other than Belgium. Because my family's from the Congo, so I gotta hate Belgium just on principle. So I like pick it based on my like views of the global, future of history of colonialism. It has nothing to do with soccer itself. But I was rooting for France only. I don't really root for European teams, but I love Mbappe. I think Mbappe is like one of the greatest players in the game. So I rooted for France for Mbappe. I was rooting for Egypt because I love their pro-Palestinian stance. Like I'm literally dragging politics into the game in a way that's so inappropriate. It has nothing to do with the teams. Nothing.
You know what you need to do? You know how people do endorsements of candidates or like organizations endorse candidates or candidates endorse each other? I need Joy's endorsed picks for the World Cup match by match. Because I don't want to be on the wrong side of the game. You know what I mean?
I regret right now, like every day, I'm like, why didn't I just do a mini pod just about my weirdly obsessive World Cup thoughts? Because my thoughts have literally nothing to do. I'm a soccer mom. Both of our sons played soccer. I have one little goalie and I had one who played in the backfield. So I'm a former soccer mom in Florida. So I love the game itself and we love Arsenal. We're an Arsenal team. That is our team in the real world. But my thoughts on the actual World Cup have nothing to do with the.
It's not too late. It's not too late. People would absolutely listen to that. I would love to.
I will say this though, like I don't know, Suzanne, how much you've been watching it, or what if you are a
zero.
I still call.
I cannot believe it's still going. I cannot believe.
What for me? For me, it has been so like a refreshing escape from American politics. And like, so I've always watched soccer. I tried to get into the MLS, but I think if you're familiar with like the talent that is out there throughout the world, you recognize the fact that like American soccer is just it's amateur hour compared to what's going on out there. And the only time you ever get real talented players is when they're like about ready to retire.
Yeah.
When they're over 40 years old, they come to the US to
it's so
out their days and like take our money.
But you know why that is, Michael? Can I just tell you, like my other this is like, I have trivia knowledge that's useless to anyone, but now that you're here and letting me use it, I gotta like use it on you. The reason we don't have great soccer players in the US is that they recruit them all to be kickers. They all end up as NFL kickers. So when they come out, like the little kids that are like phenoms on the pitch as like kids, they go to high school and college and they recruit them because they're such good kickers. They make them into kickers for NFL. So all our best would-be soccer stars are NFL kickers.
I was going to say that, and the fact that there's pay-to-play system, because I got my three youngest daughters all play travel soccer, and it's just the club fees, $3,500 a year per kid. Expensive. Yeah. So that's $10,000 I spent, and then I got your jerseys and travel costs. Fucking crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. We didn't let our kids do travel. We just did competitive. We just did regular competitive. But we were so fanatical. Like, there's nothing crazier than the parents on the sidelines of a soccer pitch. The parents are psychos. Like, we're all screaming like this, like our lives depend on these games. And the game will be like 2-0. The thing about soccer is it's such a long game, and people will score like 1. It's Americans can't take it. It's so un-American. It's not like what Americans like. You would have like 9 goals.
My cousins, all 4 of her kids play hockey, and they play ice hockey, and they played in DC, like kind of near me. So I went and watched them. Parents are getting in fights in the stand, yelling at each other. I was like, this is awesome. I'm coming to way more of their games. I'm like, oh, you didn't talk about the drama. I didn't know that was a part of it.
I'm like, I'm a very quiet, like my ex-wife she's the overly enthusiastic one. And I guarantee at some point or another, she's going to drag me into like a physical fight with somebody else, some other team's parents. But I just sit there quietly and am like thoroughly amused by like how angry the parents get. And like how like it's at least, I would say 2 to 3 games a season that somebody almost gets into a fight or does get into a fight.
Yeah. It's drama. It's literally like it should be like a Tubi movie. It's like a constant like drama.
Yes.
And there is
I would watch that.
You would totally watch it because there's always the Michael Fanone parent that's like quietly seething and they don't say anything. And then there's like the angry screaming parents. But one year, okay, I'll tell you my craziest soccer story. When our kids played, they would either have the best team or the worst team, right? So our kids have been on both. We've been on one with like a little Pele that was like scoring every 10 seconds and then one that never won. One year, one of our kids was on a team. They call themselves the Defeaters, Defeeters. You see, it's like kind of like a little gag.
Cute.
Like a side gag. Why? And we're in South Florida, so everybody's Cuban. Like everybody's Cuban, except for like our little black kids. Why did they send it to the people who manufacture the jerseys? And they sent it back with the defectors on it. And we were all like, is this racism? Like all of them Cuban parents who don't recognize racism is real. You know what I mean? Cubans are like, there's no racism. What are you talking about? This is America. I love it. And all of a sudden they were like, wait a minute, you're calling us the defective? What the actual fuck? And then they all lost it. It was like all the parents united and we all bonded in anti-racism. It was actually, we all kept the jerseys though. They're super cute.
That's actually a really lovely moment.
Yeah.
Of togetherness.
As one. Defectors.
That is wild.
All right. God damn it.
Anyway.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to insert my confusion about Argentina, which started this entire side quest.
It's your fault.
Peter's like reminding me, our producer, that I host a political show. But I digress. So tonight, amongst other things, Donald Trump will most likely, if you go off of his very subtle hints that he's given over the past several days, declare John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock to be illegitimate senators. And what I also found fascinating was in the typical Republican spineless form, like multiple Republican senators have said that they don't know. Maybe Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff are in fact illegitimate senators. Is this meaningless? Is it like what are the real world consequences here, Joy?
I mean, he might as well come out and announce that Warnock and Ossoff have chicken feet and yet can fly. Okay, dude, they're senators, and you lost. And they won. Everyone rational knows that. There's nothing you can do to undo it. So saying it is not about really thinking he can remove them from the Senate. It's about something a lot more nefarious and a lot darker. What Donald Trump wants to do, because he knows he can't claim that he was robbed in the 2020 election, but that their elections were legitimate, right? You can't have both. And so he has to say they were illegitimate and he actually won. But why do that? Because he's laying the predicate to try to steal the November election. He's trying to make a case that there was some outside foreign interference in the 2020 election such that that election was illegitimate. He's really currently in his 3rd term. And therefore, the threat from this external nefarious potential intervention in our elections means that he will make the sacrifice of taking control of the November elections, and that Republicans must take federal control of elections. It's an emergency. And John Roberts has signaled that he affirms the fact that our elections are run by the states. That's what's in the Constitution. But there's always that little out clause that in an emergency, a president can take emergency powers and supersede what's in the Constitution. So he needs to lay the groundwork for an emergency and watch for him to blame Venezuela. Why? Because we kidnapped the president of Venezuela and his wife, broke one of her bones. They now face potentially the possibility of having this regime say to them, you either give us fake proof that Venezuela stole the election, or you're going to spend 200 years in prison. That's the possibility of what they could do with custody of them, having not changed the regime, but taken custody of the president. So this is the thing, I think, the setup. They're going to claim that this foreign interference means there's an emergency, so they can slide one past the weak man, John Roberts, and get him to affirm that we can have federal control over the election so that they cannot lose in November. I think that's what this is about.
Very dark, very nefarious. Suzanne, make that funny.
Ooh, I didn't know all that. So I'm from Georgia, right? So I was real fired up and heated when I saw that, because the reason that Warnock and Ossoff are senators is because Georgia wanted change. Let me tell you something else. Do you know how many people I know who are Trump voters and Ossoff voters in particular? A lot of Republicans, a lot of people I know, people I grew up with, love John Ossoff. They love John Ossoff. You know, Warnock gets, I would say, less of that support because racism is still a thing, right? But hey, like, Donald Trump himself wants to be John Ossoff. Like, if he could be anyone, he would be John Ossoff. So, like, that's why he's tweeting about him at 2 a.m., comparing him to Mr. Bean. If you're going to come for John Ossoff, don't talk about how he looks. Like, come on, man, first of all. And it also totally discounts the work that Stacey Abrams did to actually reach the people that we needed to reach, who have been gerrymandered to hell and back, or who, you know, have had their voting rights challenged in other ways. It totally discounts the work that she did to mobilize voters at a record-breaking pace. It's all just such a slap in the face, especially when it was in the state of Georgia that he asked, what I think, the Secretary of State to literally find the votes. It's all so ironic and maddening. And I am really hoping that all that it does is encourage more Georgia voters to go to the polls. I really hope that happens.
I mean, I think that at the end of the day, that would be the silver lining if that's what was to take place. I think.
But now I'm learning about Venezuela and what Joy. Now I didn't.
Mind's blown.
Joy, I need you to just tell me everything that you know. So tell me everything. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Blanquimiento. If I hear Blanquimiento will blow your mind. Like their attempts to de-Africanize Venezuela and turn it into Europe is crazy. Like it's just a crazy country. Messi is a legend, but can I tell you another weird thing? So there's a picture of Messi 19 years ago holding this little black baby. This photographer took a picture of the two of them. The baby has grown up to be the star player on the Spanish team because at the time his parents won a random, they entered a lottery and the victor got to put their baby in this ad with Messi, who at the time was 19 years old. And so now it's like a 19. There's like people are like numerologying it. They're like, it's crazy. So now this kid who's now 19 and is, 19 years younger than Messi is the star on the other team. And no one could have anticipated that 19 years ago. Everything about this game is epic. You've got to watch it, Suzanne. Get into it. You're going to love it.
I do. And
it's like a numerology thing.
And I love numerology. Before I book certain events, I'll look up the numerology of the date. I'm real, listen, all of that I love. But I love the spirit around the World Cup, like to clarify. And I also like that people are more willing to go out and drink with me. So that's also a positive, people are like more down to have a good time. So I very much support everyone else's excitement about it.
Yeah. I also, not to turn this dark again, but I think there's another reasoning.
Michael bringing us down.
Motivation, but that's what I do. That's my lane. If you haven't noticed, I think that by Donald Trump declaring them, I don't think it's his main motivation, but I think he's aware of it. By declaring them to be illegitimate, he is going to incite threats of violence and also probably acts of violence against the two of them by some of the hardcore MAGA base that's still hanging on. And like he said so infamously at the beginning, he could shoot someone dead. I think it was in the middle of Park Avenue, and they would still support him. There's still a good group of people out there that make that ring true. So
Well, not only that, Michael, but that know that there's a possibility that he will soon pay them to do it. I think some of the failures that we talked about for corporate media, there are many failures, but I think one of the biggest failures is to connect simple dots. Donald Trump's D&I nominee was unable to say to John Ossoff, who was questioning him in a Senate hearing, in his confirmation hearing, who won the 2020 election. He refused to say it. He made a fool of himself. We all laugh at him. I laughed at first, but then I'm like, it's really actually not funny, because that is the litmus test to get to work for this guy, right? To work for this regime, you have to affirm, or at least not dispute, that Donald Trump is the real winner of 2020. This guy will now be in charge of our intelligence services. There's no way that we can guarantee that what are supposed to be foreign intelligence services don't get used on Americans. They're deploying U.S. troops onto our streets, right? So they've already passed that threshold. Think about what all of this means when you put it together. Donald Trump sued his own IRS for $10 billion, settled with his former criminal attorney, Todd Blanche, who now is up to be attorney general, for a very specific amount. $1,776,000,000, like a 1.776. What is that? 1776. So this is a 1776 fund. This is not numerology. This is actually fascism. What was that 1776 slush fund meant to do? It was to compensate the January 6th insurrectionists. He wanted to pay them. So not only does he rewrite history to say that their deadly attack, literally deadly attack, that almost left you dead, Michael, and left 6 people dead, including one of their own supporters, on January 6, 2021. Now what he wants to do, rewrite the history, say they were the patriots who were trying to right a wrong, meaning the election was indeed stolen. They were right. And now they should be compensated with tax money. They should get reparations. And the amount of the reparations is 1776, 1.776. And then once you paid them, what have you done? You've incentivized them. You said you can commit violence against police. You can beat the crap out of Capitol police officers, bear spray them, tase them, try to kill them, try to slam them in doors, do all the things. And you will be paid by this regime for your trouble. They will pay your legal bills. They will make you wealthy. You can get up to $1 million for what you did, because we need you to do it again. Because if they don't win in November, know that they're prepared to do anything, because he was already prepared. Per Jenna Ellis, who testified under oath, we're not leaving. The administration told her, who was their lawyer, we're not leaving. And so that was the intention then. Know that it's the intention now. They are not going to willingly turn over power to the Democrats in January of next year, because that would mean hearings. It might mean people go to jail. It might mean people are referred to whatever's left of the Justice Department, and they're never going to allow that. They want to keep the grift train rolling. And the only way to keep the grift train rolling, keep Republicans in charge.
Yeah, I mean,
now I've darkened it.
No, we've been in a dark place for a long time. We need people like Suzanne to lighten the mood from time to time and keep us from all jumping off a fucking bridge. But
meanwhile, if you don't mind me adding this, the Republican Senate candidate in Georgia, Mike Collins, there was just a report that his son-in-law is a white nationalist influencer. He has shared Nazi imagery. He has called for clearing our lands of other people. That is a direct quote. So it's confirmed. Inconceivable. It's inconceivable.
Yeah, sifting and sorting through that. That's something that really has, I guess, is like a white guy from the suburbs. Like, you're aware that racism exists. And, I saw examples of it here and there. But it really wasn't until Trump 2.0 that, like, I just see examples, like open examples of it exhibited by just regular people almost on a daily fucking basis. And so the permission slip that Trump has given to those people it's just unconscionable.
And they are comfortable and cozy doing it.
Very.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, not just like, there's like, you see the interactions in it. Thankfully we have like social media platforms to share these on. I guess one of a few good things about them. But politicians just openly embracing white nationalism, white supremacy, advocating for it in their policies, advocating for it for the simple fact of, white people are better than everyone else. And this country is a white Christian nation, which
Yep.
we're in a wild place, Joy.
We're a wild place. And the thing that's so funny about it is the same people who advocate white Christian nationalism with the most fervor think that the entire country can be broken and destroyed by 60,000 Somalis. So if you're so superior, I ask you, friends, well, maybe not friends, is how is it that your monument of white Christian superiority is subject to be broken by a handful of abuelas, the lady who sells arepas on the corner, a couple of construction workers, a couple of people who are cooks in a kitchen, a guy with a van full of other guys who are going to do construction work, and 60,000 Somalis, who are basically, in some sense, being manipulated by one white lady who committed the fraud in Minneapolis. So the reality is your superiority is so fragile that it is harmed by a small presence of non-white people. That tells me that with your 400-year head start, thanks to slavery, you're still so fragile and your superiority is so thinly based that it's easily threatened by a few immigrants. So that tells me that you don't really believe that you're superior. You really actually think that you're fragile. You're like a little egg and you're afraid you'll fall off the shelf. And so if that's what you think of America, then you don't love the country. Then you don't love America, because what it is this amalgam of all of these people from all over the world. And we've pulled the best of all the traditions from the whole planet and put it in one country. That's what makes America great. America is great because we eat Mexican food, African food, Italian food, Irish food, and it's all American. We're great because we have African music that becomes rock and roll, that becomes the blues and soul and country music. We make these amalgams that are amazing and everyone wants it. That's why people keep coming here. So if America is such shit per them, then why do people keep trying to come over here? So they are wrong. They are proving the lie every time they speak. And I just want them to keep talking because they're talking themselves out of power.
Yeah. It's just
go ahead, Suzanne.
It's a skills issue. It's a skills issue. And I always think of this quote that white privilege is difficult to admit to when you've amounted to nothing despite it.
That's so true. It's like
they're not. They are not bringing their best, their strongest soldiers to have this conversation. I'm like, listen, it's not immigrants' fault that you don't have a job. You have 3 DUIs because you get too drunk cheering for the Steelers and you drive home. Like,
yeah,
it's your fault. You have more DUIs than degrees. I don't.
No, I mean, I think it's a product of the system where, this has been happening since the inception of this country. Like rich people give poor people the argument or the, like blame the other, blame this person for your problems. Mm-hmm. And that way we distract you from the fact that none of our policies are going to do anything to benefit you. Listen, I know these people, like I know a lot of these people who they will tell you, like, if they are being honest with themselves, they don't really give a shit if Donald Trump does anything to like make their lives better, as long as they can use the N-word in public and feel fine about it. Like, yep. That's all they're looking for, because they've always had a shitty life. It's always been hard. And they've grown accustomed to that. In fact, they've almost like created this idea that like being poor white trash is like fucking cultural. Like it's a cultural thing. It's like, no, dude, it just sucks. It just sucks. And, politicians should do better by you to raise, your quality of life. But instead you're just, you're just happy as long as they let you be fucking a hateful bigot. And
Yeah, I mean,
bring some brown person for fucking all of your difficulties in life.
yeah, I mean, do you want the roofing job? Like, just go do it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're so desperate to go and work in the the chicken plucking plant instead of the poor Guatemalan guy who's in there, go do that. You don't want to do that. I mean, and W.B. Du Bois called this the wages of whiteness, and it is actually, to me, the most powerful and brilliant creation ever created. Like, the most powerful machine that was ever created is white supremacy, because what it does is it says, I'm going to give you nothing. You get nothing. You get no money. You get no land. You get no good job. You get no future. But here's what you get. You get whiteness. And whiteness means you can walk up to a black doctor and you are a white broke person and you're superior to them. You can call them the N-word. You can lynch them. You can kill them. It used to be, before the 1960s, that what they would do with working class white people who were poor and who were never going to get anything, they were never going to be allowed to have any government assistance, they were always going to be poor, is they would say to them, when you get frustrated, you can go ahead and kill an N-word and nothing will happen to you. You won't go to jail. You can lynch Emmett Till. Nothing will happen to you. You're good, because you're always going to have a white jury, because we won't let black people get on the jury because they can't register to vote. You see how that works? The Klan's first purpose, don't let black people register to vote, because if you can't register to vote, you can't be on a jury. So then we give you the purge. So what we're giving you is the ability to be violent, do lynchings, do things that let you get the, work it out of your system. Go ahead, work it out on those immigrants. Hang some Italians when you get mad. Oh shit, they got mad. We got to make Columbus Day, right? Like they let you just do violence, and then they try to clean it up on the back end. But they never give them anything. The reason Fred Hampton is dead is because he went to white racist people and he said, what do you actually have? And they were like, well, shit, we ain't got shit. He was like, what do you have, Latinos? They were like, well, shit, we ain't got shit. He's like, why don't we get together? And he made the Rainbow Coalition. They were like, well, he got to die. Because the worst thing that could ever happen, I don't care if people are racist, ask yourself, what do you have? And if you ain't got shit and I ain't got shit, we ain't got shit, who has our shit? And the people who have it are these billionaires that are destroying all of us. They're destroying all of us together. And if we ever ganged up, they'd be terrified of it. And that's why they keep us divided. And they let people have racism instead of prosperity. It's pathetic, but it works.
Well, and also, I mean, I'd be amiss as somebody who spent 2 decades as a law enforcement officer. I mean, it's one thing for Trump and for, these politicians to, give this permission slip to people to be fucking openly racist. The state is now being openly racist in that it has created a law enforcement agency that is unaccountable to the American people, that literally has absolutely no accountability mechanism whatsoever, that can indiscriminately go around American streets and kill people without justification, without cause, make something up in the aftermath. And then when that's proven to be a lie, they could change it to something else, as we've now seen play out time and time again in American cities. And we have now state-sponsored death squads. I mean, my friend JVL over at the Bulwark referred to them as death squads. I think he was right on.
This week, they murdered a man who is totally authorized to work in the U.S. in front of his 3-year-old daughter, who was in her Bluey pajamas. They shot him dead, and then they handcuffed his dead body.
Right.
It's completely depraved.
Like they have done so many times, Suzanne. They come out with the first story. The first story is he weaponized his vehicle against us. Then, when witnesses said, bullshit, that's not what happened, they changed their story to he was fleeing from us, but the officer believed that he was a, threat to the public safety. And so he fucking shot them.
Because he's not white.
Exactly.
Like that's literally why
would you think he wasn't even the target of
he wasn't even the target.
Yeah. No. And the people who did, the guy who did it, from what I'm understanding from reports, and don't hold me to this because I just saw a couple of reports on it, was like a realtor, like a month or 2 ago. Like they're giving them 47 days of training in honor of the 47th president. That's the training. Can you imagine?
Stop it. Are you being serious?
No,
I'm serious.
That's legit.
47 days.
God, they're such losers above everything else. They're such losers. They're so corny. Sorry,
But
go on.
But
with
if you're
your
a
point.
loser and you could never be a law enforcement officer like Michael Fanone because you don't have the ability or the skills or the intelligence, you can just sign up for ICE. 47 days later, you will have a gun and a license to kill. You can kill anyone you want. You just go up to them. You say that you think they're illegal, and then you could just kill them. And that is what they've done. You can put a mask on. No one knows your name. It's like the perfect job for a loser.
And for me, that's the thing that like makes me want to fucking like tear my hair out is that like this is very real. This is not, this is not 3 left-wing fucking loonies on this show screaming about some agency that federal agency we don't like. There is no accountability for this agency. Every single shooting that I have actually reviewed myself as someone who spent 2 decades as a law enforcement officer, I can tell you every one of those officers, had it been me, I would have been indicted probably within weeks, not months, not years. I would have been indicted. I probably, in some of those cases, like the Alex Preddy shooting, I would have been arrested probably by my fellow officers on the scene of that shooting. And so it is like, to me, this is absolutely and utterly fucking terrifying. It's terrifying for me to think that any of my children who are mixed race children, they're Taiwanese, that my ex-wife would come in contact with one of these fucking, buffoons and end up losing their life. I got to point out 47 days of training when I went through Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, which is where they went as well. The training for ICE and CBP was like a minimum of 9 months. 9 months plus language courses and then agency specific training, which put it in over 12 months of training. And now it's been reduced down to 47 days. And like you said, 1 month ago, this guy was could have been a real estate agent. And today he's shooting fucking brown people through the windshield of their car for absolutely no fucking reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, go.
There's no Department of Justice inquiry. There's no, law enforcement agencies, like, I think a lot of Americans don't understand like how this works with, in the Metropolitan Police Department. If we had a shooting, there was an independent force investigation team that came out that conducted, the investigation into that shooting. It was mandatory that it would be brought in front of a grand jury. There's no discretion there. It would be brought in front of a grand jury, even if the evidence showed that the officer was, fully justified. There were very few instances in my experience in which the Department of Justice would simply say, we're going to decline, to pursue this, because people want transparency and they want accountability. And when you take a human life, that's a lot more than just, it deserves a lot more than just clearing the scene within a matter of hours, if not minutes. Like Alex Preddy, they were gone within an hour. It's so fucked up.
Right.
And
As somebody,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you go.
They're also using and not that I feel bad for the ICE agents at all, but this administration is also using people's financial instability and people's desperation as a way to lure them in to recruit them. And then people aren't reading the fine print. And these are actually retention bonuses. If you leave after a certain amount of time, you have to pay it all back. They know people are never going to be able to do that. So you're stuck. And to your point, that journalist got hired in like 10 minutes before her background check had even gone through. You train longer to be a manager at a Sephora. I know that for a fact. The person who helps me pick out my mascara, Tarte Tubing, by the way, the best. Elizabeth Warren's staffer actually put me on. That's a side note. They are better equipped to make these decisions, and they're using people's the financial desperation that they created, by the way, that they are continuing to enable and worsen. But that's all I wanted to add.
No, I mean, in this situation, people don't have jobs. They've ruined the economy. What other jobs are there? ICE
Yep.
is kind of the only game in town. And to your point, I was on the Black Lives Matter beat for years, and I've been a journalist for more than 20 years. The difference between this and any of the cases that I was involved in reporting on during this sojourn of Black death by law enforcement is in each of those cases, to your point, Michael, there was an immediate inquiry, and also you knew who the shooter was, because it's a matter of public record who the public servants who are police officers are. They can't wear a mask. If an officer, if you demand of an officer, give me your badge number and your name, they give it to you because they are a trained enforcer of the state, right? They are an officer of the state. And so they have to give you a badge number. They can't just cover their face and be like a carjacker that jumps out of an anonymous van and you never get to know who they are. Even as journalists, we can't find out the names of these people who are involved in these shootings. They hide their identity. We can't find out information about their background. Are they trained? What was their training? We can't find any of that out. The reason that your colleague called it a death squad is they're acting like it's a death squad. They're saying we aren't even entitled to know the identity of the shooter. We're only entitled to know what the government says about the victim, which is generally that they're a terrorist. They called Alex Pretty a terrorist. It's only a matter of time, and he had a lawful firearm on him. The reality, and he never drew it. It's only a matter of time before they kill a cop, before they kill a Major League Baseball player, most of them are Latino, before they kill somebody who is well known. Like, it's only, the numbers are not with us. They're going to kill someone who it's going to be very hard for them to explain and justify to the American people and even to other of their supporters, because it's just a matter of time. And then how are they going to explain that? Is that cop a terrorist because they had a firearm on them?
And to add on to Suzanne's point and yours as well, Joy, like obviously they're playing on the financial aspect. They're promising these like $50,000 signing bonuses, which is insane. I mean, absolutely insane. But all the brutality that we're witnessing, what type of person do we think is joining ICE? They're the type of people that are looking at this brutality play out and they're saying, I want in on that. I want to be a part of that. I want to go. They are literally playing to the worst demographic in American society. People who believe that a badge will allow them to be violent without any type of accountability. And so, I mean, and that's why I've said this is an agency that is beyond reform. It needs to be completely abolished.
Amen. And they're going to use it in November. Know that they will. And how many J6ers are ICE? We don't know. Todd Blanche wouldn't answer that question. Neither would Pam Bondi when they were questioned before Congress. We don't know if these are the very same people who attacked you on January 6, 2021. It could be the same people with masks on, running around, killing people. And so the fear that they're going to deploy these people to election places and look for anybody brown or black and harass them and try to frighten them or maybe even kidnap them from the voter rolls, that's the kind of stuff that keeps me up at night.
And I don't
go
ahead. I don't know if we've mentioned this or not. Forgive me if we have, but how can they explain why they weren't wearing body cameras? Even if you're so pro law enforcement, rah, because all of a sudden everyone I went to high school with loves the police, all of a sudden loves ICE. I'm like, we were screaming F the police at Corey Smith together. What happened, right? Everyone, even the very pro rah ICE people, explain no body cameras. That just doesn't make any sense. And to answer your question, Michael, the people they are recruiting, there was this kid that went to my high school that would chug anything that you could fit in a milk carton. Any food you put in, he would chug it for $1. That kid grew up and is joining ICE. Like, not literally, I don't think. But like that is the person who's now joining ICE. Yeah. It's like the bullies who never grew up, who never got any kind of power, and who are losers. It's not like cool people, who actually want to enforce the law. What law are you enforcing? When you're handcuffing a man you just murdered in cold blood, you don't actually care about enforcing the laws, because there are plenty of, people in law enforcement who do it because they genuinely care and want to protect their communities, they're terrorizing their communities.
Yeah, and kind of one last point on the ICE thing, like, and this is what you were saying, Suzanne, like what happened to all those people that were like, I don't want the government intruding on my fucking life. I don't want like law enforcement agencies militarized going through my fucking streets. And they're the same people now that are like cheering on this like gross overreach. Like you said, we have an agency that has $178 billion fucking annual budget now. They can't afford a few $1 million to equip their agents with body-worn cameras, even though they were required to do so by Congress. And then Donald Trump said, no, you don't have to fucking wear body-worn cameras. I don't know. I just, I don't fucking get it, man.
And do they not fear that maybe one day a Democratic president will also have control of ICE, right?
No. They don't, because they don't read. They don't read books. They don't know history. They've never heard of that guy that was like, first they came for the fucking trade workers and I wasn't a trade worker. And then they came for fucking this group and I wasn't one of them. And then next thing you know, they came for me and fuck, there's nobody left for me to complain to. So now I'm sitting my fucking happy ass in a cell with, a Coke and a smile on my face.
In fairness, they might have seen all the Democrats writing Lindsey Graham love letters and decided they don't really need to be too afraid after all. So
I didn't write a love letter.
Good God. That was mass psychosis if I've ever seen it. I don't know.
Did you read my love letter?
Weird.
Not only did I read it, I read it on the air. Like literally, it was like a feature on my show. Are you kidding me? Like I literally was like, that is the perfect epitaph for this guy. Because look, the thing is, when your enemy, this guy would not have written a love letter if any of them had passed away. Yeah. He didn't even mourn John McCain, who was his very best friend. He betrayed John McCain's memory, and that was his boy, supposedly, for Trump. And so, look, my other favorite thing that we did is, the Black folk do love a program, a funeral program, and somebody made a fabulous Mother Lindsay. They had Mother Lindsay in a beautiful red hat. And they had her with all of the hymns, Sweet Hour of Prayer. And so we featured that. And I said, this was the greatest thing I've ever seen. I loved it so much. It's so disrespectful. Sometimes my community is a little disrespectful. I'm just going to be honest about it. And I'm here for it.
I love it.
I got a really nice text from a buddy of mine who works at the Washington Post. And he said, he's a writer. And he said, who knew it? Like, Mike Fanone's calling is writing obituaries for dead Republicans. So
hey,
rest in piss. It's like literally the best. It's the best epitaph. Rest in piss. You said.
I know. Well, hopefully, I have a lot of work in the near future.
Hey, there's a market. There's a niche for everything. You created a niche, and you're filling the need. It was the best one I saw. It was a nice reprieve after Amy Klobuchar's 8-part post. I don't think my best friend would write that much about me when I die.
No.
Like my very best friend. Yeah. So thank you, Michael. I hit repost so fast on that.
Well, now I got to because to me, I think politicians, like there really is the political elite, and they like to exchange niceties about one another when they leave office, when they die, to maintain this aura of the elitist aura and the idea that they are above the rest of us. Like this guy was a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. He was a piece of shit as a politician. His policies sucked. They harmed so many different people, but he was also a piece of shit as a human being in that he lacked the ability to find compassion and empathy for the mother of a dead police officer.
That's right.
And that was what I witnessed in firsthand. And so, that to me, it was like, all right, Republican, I didn't care about the R next to his name. I didn't care about his policies were egregious, but this was about a personal interaction that I had with a man that couldn't muster up compassion and empathy for literally the easiest person on the fucking planet to find compassion and empathy. Fuck that guy. Let me know where he's buried so I can go urinate on it.
This is why we love you, Michael.
Yep. I wish a single elected official had said something, even with a tenth of that energy.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Or the media that was like, the world is mourning Lindsey Graham. It's like, who the world?
Who?
Because
Who?
I'm not mourning him.
Can
like,
you?
The world is I'm like, are they though?
Issue a retraction, except for Suzanne Lambert. Like, don't bring me into it.
Who the world? Like, I'm in the world. And I'm
yeah, and I'm not.
I'm really happy.
Yeah.
The best part was like, because my mom pays way too much attention to the crazy shit that I say and like watches all my.
Oh no, that's never good.
So, but no, she's a tough cookie. And so she hit me up. She's like, Mike, I loved everything you said. I agree, but I'm afraid like these crazy MAGA people, they're gonna come after you now. And like, I was like, Mom, crickets, nothing, because they hated that motherfucker too.
Yes.
Everybody hated that guy. I was like, listen, I picked on the lowest hanging fruit available. And, not that he didn't deserve it, but I was like, nobody liked that guy. I got 2 hateful comments from what were clearly bots because one of them thought that I was a black guy and the other one didn't even know like where I was born. And so, yeah.
Are you a Kenyan Muslim too? Oh my God.
Well,
another
Prince.
One? Wow.
No, it was and I swear to God, I'm gonna let you guys go. But they swore in his sister within like 48 fucking hours of him dying.
You see that?
How many goddamn Democrats fucking seats sat vacant for fucking months? Texas, 6 months, was it? 8 months?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Hello. And the best rest in peace message was from the ghost of Mitch McConnell, from his bed. Apparently, he wrote like an 8-paragraph proof of life that was like an opus. Like you could have just done a video, dude, if you really could talk. But then he like had to top it because people noticed that why didn't he mention Lindsey Graham in his opus? So they wrote like a little short, opus to Lindsey. The comments on it, and this is on his Facebook page, were epic. People were like, ooh, who knew that you could wish somebody, well from the grave? Oh, now I believe in ghosts. Like, it was hilarious.
Suzanne, have you ever been in a hospital and worn all your clothes while you were laying in the hospital bed?
And makeup.
I can't
fucking
say
makeup. And
more makeup than I have on now.
And also, like, his hair got miraculously better than it had ever been. Like, anytime I've ever been in a hospital, I look like shit.
Same.
Like, I look like a bag of shit.
just casually clutching a newspaper.
You look better than
as one does.
Years.
But also
As one
casually
does.
clutching a newspaper, not the way, if you had a newspaper, he had it
would
in a way
face
that
alive.
it's
This is
facing,
what day it is.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna make it tilted just so that you can see what day it is, because it's like I'm a hostage and I'm showing you a proof of life. Proof of life. I'm blah, blah, blah. It's like, come on, bitch. We know what you did. Just tell us that you did. Just admit it.
It's like when I want to make a guy jealous, I'll get a guy's arm in the photo and pretend like it's an accident, but it's real. And it's like always a guy with like a big arm,
Right.
Like tattoos, like tatted, whatever, so that they notice. That is what he did with that newspaper.
1000%.
I mean, it's like, I know what you're doing, Mitch. I've done it.
His
Not
wife's
to
like
prove
in the
that I'm
chair.
alive.
His wife's got this big smile on her face.
And the red lip, she was looking fly. Now you visited your man with a whole red lip. You work it, girl.
She got done up for that.
She sure did.
He's sitting real upright. It is
Perky,
absolute tomfoolery.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Joy,
Whatever, man.
Dan, thank you guys so much for coming on. This was a fucking blast.
So fun.
This was so much fun. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. No, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
I feel like we need to do a World Cup watch party together, because I feel like people will watch that.
Oh, hell yeah.
They totally would.
They would totally watch it. We're fun.
I'm cheering for whoever Joy's cheering for.
España.
It could be Argentina.
Okay, you want to bet on this? Like, should we? What? Like, we should do like, because I don't drink beer. So okay, like I'll buy you a beer. You like beer, right? So if Argentina
I drink
wins,
whatever. I
okay,
drink
all
fucking
right.
wedding alcohol.
You know, I like champagne. I got expensive taste, Bobby.
See, that's why I love you. I don't drink beer either.
Champers
It
only,
makes, yep.
and none of the cheap
I-
shit.
No.
Well, I would never.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in for it. Yeah, y'all said you were gonna get drinks. I want to crash that.
All
Okay.
right, I'll drink champagne too. Fuck it.
That is in.
Perfect.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Bye. Take care. Later.